Hi guys and welcome to another video. So here we go again. This is like some kind of my tradition to do this every December. I'm doing my favorite K-pop albums and my favorite K-pop songs of the year, and my favorite groups also. I've done the video for my top 35 favorite groups. Those are like all the groups I listen to, and I'm actually pretty much actively involved in their activities. There may be other groups that I just casually listen but do not stand. So yeah, you can go and check it out. Here I am doing like my top 20 albums. Last year I did 15 albums, but this year is 5 more, it's 20. And the reason for it is because this year was tough for all of us. You'll know why. And basically, we were at home, like basically the whole year, and we didn't do much outside of the house. So I had a plenty of time to learn the new K-pop groups, and I actually did. Like I sang 35 groups basically, and by that I mean I also listened to more albums than I did last year. Those are my top 20 favorites. Those are my like they have my favorite B-side tracks. They are like the ones I listen to the most throughout the year. So yeah, I'm also gonna do top 20 or 25, maybe 25 songs of like 2020. But that's gonna be like maybe even I'm gonna put it maybe on the last day of December. So yeah, let's just this was like a long intro. Let's just go ahead and start my top 20 K-pop albums of the year. Let's go. Number 20 and the last album on my list, it's ITZY Not Shy mini album. So ITZY had a great year. I'm not gonna talk about their title tracks. You'll see hear about that actually, maybe in my favorite songs. But what I wanted to say, they really had a great like year with their mini albums, with their title tracks, with everything. Like I think this was definitely their year. I must say that, and I didn't like hear their first mini album that was released this year. I didn't even know its name, but I listened to Nashai for some reason. I really don't know why. I just decided I'm gonna listen to it, and I did listen to it when it was released, and I liked it then. I'm still liking it now, but I don't listen to it now. Like I listen like maybe a couple of times when it was released, and I just basically stopped for whatever reason. There is like only the title track and maybe one B side that I listened throughout the whole year, but like nothing after that. This is personally my favorite album of theirs. I'm really liking it, and I think it's usually it is B-sides are not my style. I love their title tracks, but I'm not like a big fan of B-sides because they have a lot of going on, inside the album, inside B-side tracks, and like it's just a lot to me to process, and now I'm not really like a fan of that type of music. So I'm just like I'm gonna listen to it, and then I listen to it and I don't like it, and then I never listen to it again. This was not the case with this album. More it was a little easier to process the whole album, the whole arrangement of the songs and instrumentals and everything. I just enjoyed it. The reason why it's last is only because I didn't listen to it a lot as the other ones. So yeah, but I really like the album. So the number 19 on the list is Ace. I think it's called like HJ ZM, right? ZM, I don't know. The Butterfly Fantasy. It's also actually Ace is the group that I discovered this year. I've heard about them, and I've always heard like this group is so underrated, and I actually never had the interest to hear them before. But I don't know the reason why I did it. Like basically, I think I saw it on Twitter. I seen their like photos for their album and the music video for Favorite Boys, and I was like, this looks really interesting. Like I love the whole aesthetic, how like images looked great. Like maybe even my favorites like images for the comeback of this year. And I was really like, okay, this looks really good. I really gonna like check out their comeback. And by that I started standing them. like a lot, and also listen to the whole album. I enjoyed it. The same as for Izzy, I didn't listen to the album a lot. I listened to the title track, the B side, one B side, and basically maybe that's all. Like I listened, of course, the whole album. The album is great. There is some interesting tracks. It's a really short album. Also, it only has like 5 tracks. So yeah, by the way, I didn't said it previously, but you've seen it already, but I just gonna say it now. I will like show somewhere on the screen my favorite ranking. Actually the ranking of the songs, like from my favorite to the least favorite, so you can also see that. Right now I don't really know how my rank is gonna be, but like I said, it's short album. It's just 5 songs, and I listen only like 2 constantly. The other 3 not that much, but I'm just so happy that I discovered this group, and I will definitely keeping eye on them, and I can't wait to see what they're gonna do next. And I just really hope they gonna like keep rising, because I think this comeback helped them, but I just want something more. I really think they deserve more from what I've seen. I've seen their covers, I've heard some of their albums and everything. They're just so talented, and I don't want that talent to be wasted. Like I just want them to be appreciated a little bit more. So if you could help, that would be awesome. But I love this album, yeah. Number 18 on my list, it's a Mamamoo album called Travel. Uh, this album is not my favorite Mamamoo album, I must say. Like the last year, their album, I think it was called Reality in Black. It was my number one, actually. It was my favorite album of the year. So yeah, this year, Mamamoo like really just they took a little break. They've done a lot of solo activities. Some were more successful, some not as successful, but as a whole, like I think it was the right thing to do, to just take a little break from the group, focus solo, and then at the end of the year just have like a one regular comeback. I love the comeback, and also love the album, like I said, but not, it's like not my favorite. Also didn't listen to it a lot because it was recently released, so like I couldn't technically listen to it a lot. So that is like maybe the only reason why it's number 18. I really appreciate that every track on this like mini album it's written by Monbyo. She's so freaking talented. Like I love when artist produces and writes their own, or actually you don't need like to do it yourself, but if you're just a little bit involved, of course, if that's what your company lets you do. I just love that. And also, I know that Hwasa did like the music for Dinga, and that song is a bop. So, also, like, congrats to her, also. Like, really, really, I really appreciate him for that. And that just makes me love this album even more. And next year is actually their contract expiration. So, I'm looking forward to see what's gonna happen. Are they gonna disband? Not? Like, I hope not. But I'm hoping for the best. I think they're gonna stay together, produce more great albums and more amazing songs, and I just cannot wait to see what the next year gonna bring for them. But this was overall like a good album, yeah. Number 17 on my list is TXT Minisode The Blue Hour. This is also their second mini album this year. Also love this comeback. Like it was a lot different from like Can't You See Me. It was like a little bit like it was even brighter than like Runaway. Like it's similar to The Crown, so like I really like that change. Like it was just like a nice little touch with The Crown. Like we're taken back from that to that moment. And I like that. I love when groups like do like different genres, when they can like do dark concepts, bright, and that just shows their versatility, and that's like amazing. This album is also a short one. It only has like 5 tracks, and I also know the members participated in writing some of the songs. I'm so proud in such a young age, like to just do that. It's amazing to me. Like I'm their age. Like Hyun Kai and Taehyun are even younger than me, and here I am, and there they are. Like I don't even need to say anything anymore. Also, TXT is the group that I think they are the group that I loved most this year. I must say that because last year I know of TXT, but I actually did wasn't interested in their albums, in like members or anything. I just listened to that title track and that's all. But when Can You See Me was released, I started getting really interested in them, and they are, I can say now, my favorite boy group. I really love those guys. The reason why this album is maybe so low on the list is because it's not my style actually. I like the songs. I cannot say I don't. But I just like, I don't know how to explain it, but they have that certain like genre. All the songs are kind of like the old school, something that you would do some for some kind of movie or show, like Stranger Things maybe. And like that's just not my type, and I need to be in the mood to listen to it. So maybe that's the reason. Like I don't know. I didn't actually have like any even B-side track that like I listened a lot. I listened to the title track and maybe album a couple of times. It is the album that I would listen to in the next year, but not that frequent. Maybe like once or twice I can get back to that album and not more, but it's still reasonable. And I just want to give them credit because they're my favorite group now, and also because of the writing credits. And it's just like you cannot say that this album is not amazing. It is amazing, and it's so versatile, and it's so different from what other groups I can definitely say that are doing, especially like newer groups. And I just like applaud them for that. Like that's so amazing, but it's just not my style. But I can definitely see why some people really love this album, and this is their most successful album by now. Like it was sold out the most, and like it is just so successful, and I'm just so happy for them, and I just hope they keep growing in the future. Here we come to number 16, and number 16 is Huasa Maria. So Hossa is, as you probably know, member of Mamamoo, and I think that out of all the girls, she's the most successful as a soloist. I don't think like that's a fact. I'm not saying like she's the best and the other girls are not. Like they are all perfect, but like even to me, like her style of music, what she's doing, it's just more my taste. Also, this mini album is really great. As you maybe know, I love Hasa's voice like a lot. Uh, she just like have that really unique voice, and you just want to listen to her like sing all the time, definitely. And also, she like I think that she participated in writing every song on there, even done some music. So that's like wow for me. Like really, like she had time to do all that, and also will come back, and yeah, and you can just not say to me, you cannot actually deny that she didn't like prove herself as a solo artist already. And I think if Mamamoo unfortunately maybe disband next year, that she don't need to afraid what's gonna happen. I think that she's just gonna be maybe even better. Like I maybe feel bad for saying this, but she's such an amazing solo artist, and I think people really love her, Koreans and international fans. And I know that this album and this song was so successful, and I'm happy for her. I really love her. I love what she's doing. I think she's really unique and brings something new, and I'm happy for that. And I actually love the whole album. Also, didn't listen to it a lot. Maybe a title track and one or two B sides. The other one's just like a couple of listens, and that's it. So yeah, but I really loved it, and I am so happy for her. Number 15 on my list is NCT Dream Reload mini album. So also this album is really short, only 5 tracks. So I must actually talk a little bit about something. I like didn't listen to NCT a lot. I of course knew about NCT. I didn't actually listen to any NCT Dream song or VV. I only listened NCT 1 to 7, and I like listened to a couple of their title tracks, and I was like just a casual listener until their project NCT 2020. That like concept really like dragged me into NCT and all of their subunits, Also NCT Dream. And the reason why this album is so low, it's a great album, but the reason why it's so low is because I just recently find out about NCT and NCT Dream, and I like didn't have a lot of time to listen to this album, like a lot. I've heard it a couple of times, but not enough for me to be one of my favorites, like in top five, for example. Also, some of the members participating in writing the lyrics. I love that. NCT Dream, not Dream actually, whole NCT became also one of my favorite boy groups. This year was definitely their year. I am just so happy for NCT Dream. I feel like when I'm talking about music wise, NCT 1 to 7 is my favorite subunit. But when I'm talking about maybe like the members I love the most, that would be NCT Dream. And maybe because we are practically the same age or similar age, and maybe it's because I can connect to them the most. I don't know what is the reason, but I just love this subunit. And I just have a feeling that next year they're gonna have a full album, and I think they really deserve that. And I'm seeing on Twitter these days also people who say that they have the same feeling as me, and I see some statistic that really a lot of people think that they're gonna sell actually 1 million copies of their physical albums, and I really hope that comes true, like that they're gonna release the first full album, which they worked hard for all these years. I really think it's the right time, and I think they get really popular more because of all this project. I'm definitely not the only one who like started following all of NCT subunits just because of NCT 2020. Like I cannot be the only one. And I feel like a lot of people did it and that they love Dream, and I think that would be just like the right step for them to release the full album. And I just think it's gonna be like really good, and I cannot wait. But like I said, this album also didn't listen to it a lot because I would find a little bit late about it. But yeah, love like the album. It's just maybe gonna be I maybe gonna listen to it more, but I definitely will listen to it throughout the next year because I recently discovered it, so I'm not bored of it yet, if that makes sense. So I'm definitely seeing myself listening to it in the next year. Number 14 on my list, and I know it's low, but I'm just strange person. It's BTS B. So practically, maybe you're gonna come in for this one. Uh, I actually didn't even plan to put it at number 14. I was thinking maybe 18, 19. But the reason why I just like pushed it a little bit higher is because they actually done like the whole thing for this album, for this comeback. Like from the music video to every song, every lyric, like every like basically production, like basically everything is done by them. Like it's self-produced album, and I'm just like respect that so much. Like I respect that honestly really much. And BTS is just like not even like for me BTS is not even like just K-pop. BTS for me is more than K-pop. Like that's how I see them. Maybe it sounds rude to other groups, but BTS is definitely the most popular artist right now. Definitely not boy group but artist, and I can say that positively. Like you see what Dynamite did, like it's crazy, and I'm just happy for them. BTS is a group that I get a little bit distant this year. I love them more like last year. Right now they're not like one of my favorite groups. I cannot call myself like a real fan. I can call myself a person who loves the members and a little bit of their music. Like I'm not like a big fan, but I really respect this whole album, like what is done. Maybe if it was released earlier, it would be higher because I listened to it more, but like I just didn't listen to it a lot. Also because, like I said, it was released recently, and there isn't like a lot of tracks that I like want to listen the whole time. There is like 3 tracks that were like really stuck to me, and I was like really amazed. I even cried with Blue and Gray. Like I need to say that. I even cried, and every time I listen to Blue and Gray, I cry. Like it's impossible for me not to cry. But yeah, Like, don't kill me for this. Like, this is just my opinion. But number 13 on my list, it's Kai with the album of the same name, Kai. So EXO is actually my like I said previously that TXT is my favorite boy group, but that is if we count like active groups right now. I don't consider EXO like active because they didn't have a comeback for like more than a year. But EXO is my favorite boy group if we like I said don't count the like activeness of the group. And I really like EXO and every single member of the group like a lot. Uh, and as you maybe know, Kai, I think he was the only member that didn't have like any solo activities or like solo activities without the group as a whole. So he finally debuted as a soloist, and I couldn't be more happier for him. I love him from the bottom of my heart. I cannot even describe you how much I love this man. And I'm just so happy when I find out about his solo album. I literally cried. Like that's how much I love him. And I'm gonna admit that this song, title track, like it's not one of my favorite songs, but I definitely see why people love it, and it's definitely so addictive. Music video. We're not gonna talk about those moves. You know what I'm talking about. Like he just makes me blush every time I watching the video. Also, the reason why it's number 13. I love this album so much. I'm gonna admit, like, love it. The only reason is I didn't listen to it a lot because it's recent album and because it like when you tell me right now one track from the album, I cannot remember like how it goes until I hear it, you know. So basically what I'm trying to say, I didn't memorize the songs on the album, so I cannot say it's my favorite when I basically don't even know the songs on the album. So yeah, but if it was released earlier, this would definitely go in my top 5, honestly. 100%. And actually, I'm gonna be honest, on this list I basically pushed more full albums than mini albums. Of course I'm gonna have mini albums in my top 10 or 5 list, but I'm just giving a little more credit to the artists who've done like a full album because that's a lot harder to do than a mini album, you know. So yeah, maybe that is also the reason why this album is so low. But I'm happy for him. I love you. This is an amazing album, Kai, and I just cannot wait to see what he's gonna do next. Like I'm just hoping that he's gonna like continue this whole activity. Like it's not just gonna stop. Like I'm just hoping like it's gonna be like Baekhyun. But I think that's gonna be the case actually. Definitely. I have that feeling and I think he's gonna kill it next year also, and I just cannot wait to see all that next year. Number 12 on my list is Dreamcatcher, first full album called Dystopia, I think, The Tree of Language. Yeah. So basically, I listen to Dreamcatcher like always, but actually since their debut, but I didn't like listen to anything beside the title tracks. Like I never like listened their B sides, and because this was actually the full album, I was really interested. Like it's really big achievement when artist release his first full album because like that's a big thing, and you all know Dreamcatcher is super underrated, so I wanted to give them a little support, and I wanted to see if I'm gonna like it. Is like, you know, are there like really the group that is like really promising and it's promising to grow in the future? And I actually did listen to the album, and I can say I just love that. I just love that. Basically there is a lot of tracks I love. There is also the tracks I would never listen to again. I'm gonna be honest, like, but that's not like a lot. Maybe like 3 songs that I would like not listen again. But my top, you will see it. Like I'm loving it, and I still listen to the album. I'm gonna admit, like I'm still listening to some of the tracks. Like 2 or 3 tracks are still in my playlist, and this was just a great album, and to think that this is their first album is just mind-blowing because the production is just amazing. Like there's just like different types of genres in it. It's not like you just think about Dreamcatcher, you think about rock style and the dark concept, but they just proved and showed a lot more than just that in this album. And I think this album was like a great opportunity for them to show the people what they can deliver to us. And I really think the people should start appreciating them a little bit more because they really deserve that. They really are talented girls, and not every artist actually can pull like this album off because it's an amazing album. Also, the reason maybe why it's not that high, like it's not that low, but it's not that high. Also, it's because again, I didn't listen to it as a whole throughout the year. I listened to it as a whole like 3 4 times, and then I just listened to 2 or 3 tracks throughout the year. So, yeah, that is basically the reason. So number 11 on my list is Stray Kids album, In Life. So basically, I'm firstly before I talk about the album, I want to like just say something about this. I said In Life, not Go Live, because Go Live is their first full album, and In Life it's their like repackage of the album. And for every album that has the repackage, I've like just put it in my list, like just the repackaged version, because it has the more tracks, I think, and also it's kind of like that final product, and I think it's just like a better way. And I definitely can say that I listen to some songs from In Life more than in Go Live, like some newer songs like you didn't have in Go Live, you have in Life. And that's, like I said, the reason why I actually put the repackaged version, and I'm gonna put the repackaged version of every album that where repackaged version exists actually. So I hope you understood. This album is also the first full mini album of Stray Kids. They worked so hard for this album. I mean, I wasn't with them, but I definitely know. And when you look at like the credits and everything, you can basically see Triracha in every motherfucking song. And I just want to ask them how. How the fuck is possible for you three to be that amazing? Like honestly, you are out of this world, all three of you. Like so talented, like in every aspect of music, and even more the music, like it's crazy. Stray Kids is also the group I really, really love. This year was totally their year. I think they grew so much this year. They gained a lot of new fans and they become so popular. I think I heard that they're gonna go to the Kingdom next year. That's gonna be a big opportunity for them. I'm just waiting to see their performances because I know they're gonna kill it. Like I must say, Mama, Stray Kids, my favorite performance, hands down. Uh, Also, they're wrapped, but that's like the other topic where I'm not gonna get angry right now. And also, the other members participated in writing the lyrics. We have some subunit songs in it, which I also really love. Also, the reason why it's maybe not like in my first half of the top list, it's maybe because this album was great, but it's not as my style as the other 10s, if it makes sense. You all know the Stray Kids have that their own, I would say, unique color of music, and that's also the reason why Taraja produces. Like they are like responsible for their every track, and they're just doing it, of course, different from other like producers, and you can totally hear that in the album. It's a great album with full of bops. I like half of the album I listen to it even now, but there is just some really hard skips, some really songs that I really don't like. I'm gonna be honest. And also the title tracks weren't my favorite. I know I'm probably the only one. I'm not saying I don't like it. I do like it, but if it's gonna go in my top 25, I don't think so. I will maybe change my mind when I make my list of top 25 songs, but for now, I don't think. I like some other title tracks from Stray Kids more than God's Menu and Backdoor, but I can definitely see why people love those two. There were some iconic like lines in it, iconic looks. Hyunjin long hair, Felix mullet, and everything that goes with it. Like, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, that is maybe the reason why it's like in the middle, like it's on top. So yeah, I'm so excited. I know they're gonna keep growing in popularity, and I just cannot wait to see what's gonna happen with them actually the next year. So I'm excited to see. I'm just wishing all the best. Number 10 on my list is NCT 127 Neozone, the final round. This is also the repackaged version. It just has more songs than the original one, so I'm choosing this one instead. But you can just think it's Neozone, like the original, like it's basically the same. Also, in the case of Dream, like I didn't like listen NCT like a lot, so I didn't actually hear this album when it was released, like I think in March. I listened to it basically recently, like I'm gonna say 2 months ago. I don't know exact time. I of course knew Kick It when it was released, Punch also, but out of those two, I didn't listen to any song from the album until I got interested in NCT. And this album, when I find out about it, was on repeat for me actually. The reason why it's 10, I already said it. I didn't like had time to listen to it a lot, but I basically really love it. I love the versatility. Is that how you say it? Versatility. I don't know. And they have like a total like twist. I can say like they have a lot of genres. Like think about Mad Dog for instance. Who can pull off Mad Dog the same as NCT? Honestly, let's be fair there. Like only they can do it. Also, there were some like ballad songs where rappers like surprised me a lot. Like their vocals were insane. And also like this album as a whole, it's my style actually. Definitely, but I think if I've heard it when it was released, this would be in my top five actually. But because I'm not like familiar with the whole album so well, is the reason why it's top 10. I just cannot wait to see what they're gonna do next year. I know in the beginning of the year they're gonna like do some like Japanese promotions, but I cannot wait for something Korean so we can enjoy new music. Yeah, I really love this album. Yeah. Number 9 is Twice second full album, Eyes Wide Open. So Twice are also one of my favorite groups. And basically, why it's 9, maybe you're asking me, is because I didn't like it at first. I I've done like my first reaction on the day when it was released, and I wasn't like the most satisfied person. I didn't even like Can Stop Me that much. I loved it, but like not maybe as fancy or real special. Now it's totally different. But the album as a whole, I basically my first listen only liked three songs maybe, and that was basically it. And that was, I must say, a little bit disappointed, if that's the right word I'm looking for. I also knew that members participated, some of the members participated in the lyrics, and that was even more sad then. But then I give it another chance, like a couple of days uh, ago, and actually quite liked some of the songs that I didn't like at first. And I was actually really happy then. Like I was like, yeah, like I finally find myself enjoying this album, and I can definitely say that it grew on me a lot. Also, didn't listen to it a lot as the other maybe eight, because, like I said, I refused to listen to it a lot at the beginning. I just recently kind of listened a little bit more of the album, but until like a couple of days ago, I just listened to it once. So that is the reason, maybe why it's 9, but I definitely appreciate their work. This year was also amazing for them, and I cannot wait to see what they're gonna do. Next, also sad for Jungjoon, but I hope she recovers so soon. Actually, she can take however time she needs. Like we will stay here, we support her, and we love her. Yeah. Number 8 on my list is One first full album called Boom Eyes. When I actually find out that Aizen are gonna have their album, I was really excited. Then this whole controversy happened, and they just like needed to change the schedule. I don't even know how to pronounce the word. They needed to change the time of release. So basically, I was really sad at that time, and I actually think that we'll never gonna get this album. But we fortunately did, and I'm so happy. I never listened to Izon mini albums before, or maybe I did actually one, but I wasn't like a big fan. But when I heard this album, I was actually really happy that I liked it. I even liked it at first listen. Also, the reason why it's maybe not in the top five is because it's like I think it was the first album that was released this year, so it was basically a long time ago. And basically, when you listen to something like throughout the whole year, you get bored. Like that's just human nature, and like of course, I couldn't listen to the whole album since January until now. So maybe that is why it's eight, but the tracks are actually great. Maybe I have like two tracks that I don't like. The other like 9 or 10 are basically bops. And I see myself listening to this album like the next year, even more times than once. I really enjoy this album. I don't actually like the other two mini albums, but it's okay. Like I cannot say I don't like it, but not as much as this other 20. Also, the next year is the year when Aizen should disband, which I wouldn't really like. Their contract is expiring in April. I don't see a big possibility of them renewing their contract. I definitely see them disbanding, unfortunately. I also feel sad that they probably will not be able to do a concert with their fans to say final goodbye because of all this situation we're unfortunately in. So I feel just kind of sad for them that they didn't get that, actually won't maybe get that opportunity. I just loved for them to be permanent. That's how you say it. I love them to just like stay like for another, like as the other groups, like 7 years, because this 2.5 years probably just flew by. And Aizen is really amazing group who like delivers such a bops, and I actually like the girls a lot, and I just feel so sad for them. But whatever happens next year, I'm gonna support them even in their future, their solo activities, and I actually cannot wait to see what they're gonna do if they disband the group. And I just wish them all the best. I really love them and hope for just the best for them. Number seven on my list is 17 mini album Hengare. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know what Hengare means though, but it's okay. This is their mini album. 17 is also the group I really got into this year. I actually got into them a little bit throughout when they released Fear, but I just started actively following them and standing them and really loving them throughout this year. Both of their mini albums were amazing. This was just more of my style. The other one wasn't it for me. This one is definitely my favorite out of the two. They are also sold out a million physical copies of both albums, and they officially become 2 million sellers. Like hands down, the power they got, it's amazing. I'm so happy for them. Some of the members participated in the lyrics and music process. I respect that totally. This album is when it was released, I had a hard time. I mean, I had a whole this whole year was a hard like experience for me, but that time maybe specifically, and when they released this, you just had like a lot of, I would say, healing songs that I would just listen to it and cry. I listened to this album like a lot, and I, like I said, cried a lot throughout this album. It also would give me hope, a hope at the same time. Left and right also made me dance a lot. Like you just have like 100 emotions in one mini album. It's so good. I also listen to some of the songs regularly. I think maybe even the half of the album, if not more. Like it's so good. reason why it's so low or 7 on my list. It's maybe also the reason why it's just like a mini album. Like I said, I give it like more to the artists to release their full albums. So maybe that's the reason, but I really enjoy this album. I think this is also my favorite album of 17. I listened to almost all of their albums, and I can say this is my favorite. I really love this album. I'm so happy for them. Cannot wait for them to break more records next year. I'm excited. Let's go, guys. The next album, or number 6 on my list, it's album from BTS called Map of the Soul 7. This is another BTS album. I already said that B is one of my favorites, but I love 7 more. The reason I don't know myself is just more my style. Maybe it's also because it's a full album. We have a lot more music, so I have like a lot more to choose what I'm gonna listen to, and that's like also the reason why I love full albums more than just like mini albums. Also, the what I was gonna say is that basically they have a lot of subunit songs and I think solo songs, and I love that. Like when like you can see like everyone's like tasty music, what everyone like wants to show to their fans, and I think that's amazing. This album was until recently my favorite. Like I can definitely say until maybe August, September, this was my maybe even October. This was my favorite album of the year. But then by the end of the year, some great albums come, and I just love them more than this one. But I definitely can say I listened to that album, to this album a lot. Also, maybe I realized late, but when you see tracks, or ranking of the tracks from each album, I don't put like if album has an intro or outro, you know. Also, as intros and outros, I also didn't include like in this album there was like some of the songs from their last album, so I also didn't rank those songs because you know I just counted and ranked new songs on the album. So yeah, but like I said, I really enjoyed this album. I'm definitely gonna listen to it throughout the next year. I love BTS, I love their music, and there's like nothing to say about it. This album is also, I think, the best selling album this year in the world. Just amazing, just amazing. They actually deserve every award they getting. Like it's just amazing how like even if it's maybe not my style, you know. But I can like of course definitely see why they are so popular. They deserve it. They are really talented. They produce great music, and it's totally they are totally deserving of their title. Just hoping for even more if it's even possible next year. And I think it's definitely possible because I have a feeling that they will definitely win Grammy. And that's not a feeling. That's basically a fact. If they don't win Grammy, basically that's wrapped. Like they need to get it. Like, and that's gonna be huge for BTS, for Army, but also for all the K-pop. Like they're doing a lot, not just for them, but also for the whole K-pop, and I'm just thankful to them. We'll come to the top 5. Number 5 on my list, it's my ultimate bias, Baekhyun, with his mini album called The Light. So Baekhyun debuted as a soloist last year. I couldn't be more happier. Like I said, he's my ultimate K-pop bias. I love him with all my heart. That man is like my like I love him. Like I don't even have words for him. Basically, I loved his album a lot last year. Uh, and I had high hopes for this album too, and I definitely wasn't disappointed. When I just draw a parallel between first album and this album, I cannot say which one is my favorite, but I definitely love this a lot. And this is basically a mini album with 7 songs. Like basically, mini albums have 5, maybe 6 songs, but no, he said you're gonna get 7. That's basically Blackpink full album, almost. Honestly. Also, Baekhyun, it's really, as you know, amazing when it comes to singing. And he's just incredible, best vocalist out there, one of the best, whatever. But I just appreciate when artists who are really good at doing high notes almost always do ballads. But Baekhyun is the artist who do more like upbeat R&B tracks. So when he debuted, I was actually surprised because I expected more ballads. But I'm happy that's actually not the case, and that he can actually kind of show his other side. This album has really great vibes. Uh, it's almost kind of a more darker side of Baekhyun. Some songs, of course, some don't. Like Candy, it's not. But really love this album. I listen to it, like I said, even now. The only song I don't like is Are You Riding? The other six, I listen to it, like I said, even now. Like, I love this man. Love what he's doing. Love his tasty music. Love what he's delivering. I know he has the actually Japanese mini album coming out. I'm maybe gonna react to that. I don't know. Also, I actually find out just before filming my reaction, actually this video, I found that in Monday, which is for actually it's gonna when I release this video, it's gonna be out already. But he's actually releasing, I think, some kind of song called Amusement Park that came out unexpectedly. I basically screamed, and my mother came like, "What happened?" Like I basically screamed when I've seen that he's having another song coming out. It's probably gonna be like some Christmas type of song, but I'm still so happy whatever content I get from Baekhyun. And yeah, I love this album. Also, the reason why it's five, maybe it's because it's mini album, but I just love it. Great work. Expecting a lot more next year and hoping for more success because this album was so successful. He basically became a million seller. It's really rare that like a solo artist have like million sold out copies. Like I actually didn't heard about that at all. I think he's maybe even the first guy. So I was so surprised and so happy for him. I love how public really loves him because he actually deserved it by his personality, by the music and everything. He totally deserved all this. Number four on my list, it's TXT, The Dream Chapter. I think it's called, yeah, Eternity. I was always like, is it Eternity? But is Eternity. Okay, so when this album came out, I still wasn't into TXT. So basically, what I was trying to say when Can't You See Me was released, I listened to the song and I loved it. Then I was like, should I like listen to the album? And one of my favorite reactors, called Silly Pack, go subscribe to her channel by the way, reacted to this mini album, and I was like, maybe I should actually listen to the mini album. And when I did, I was actually blown away. If this album was a full album, if it had more tracks, it would definitely be my number one. Honestly, this album is so good, like so good. It's totally my style. You have like a beat song like Drama. You have like a dark song like Can't You See Me. You have unexpected song like Eternally, for instance. You have a ballad like Maze in the Mirror. Like basically, you have everything. And TXT are just so versatile in like such a young age. Let's call it. I mean, they're just. I think it's 2 years since they debuted, right? And basically, it's so amazing to see that. Also, Amazing in the Mirror. I cry every time I listen to that song. It gives me so much comfort, and I just love that so much. This album is amazing. These boys are so talented. I'm expecting some type. I'm actually sad that don't a lot of people don't like this album as much as Minisobu Hour, because for my taste this album is so much better than Minnesota. Like Minnesota is there and Eternity is like basically there for me. Like I just love this album. It's more my style totally, 100%. Definitely one of the best. Like I said, if it had more tracks, if it's a full album, it would be my number one, 100%. Like, I'm just so happy for them. Cannot wait to see what they're gonna put down next year. Number three on my list is Super M Super One. So, Super M, since SM Entertainment announced that they're like debuting Super M, there was a lot of controversies. As you know, a lot of fans, especially XOLs, didn't support it, Super M, and I think it's still that way, unfortunately. I was really happy because I like love all the guys from the group. So I was really excited, but Japping just left me disappointed. And because of that, I actually didn't expect it a lot from Super M this year. I didn't even know they were preparing for the full album. Like I said, that's a big thing. So I was like a little bit like surprised when they announced it, and also they had like two B-sides, like two pre-releases actually before the official album. So they really surprised me, and I actually didn't expect it to love it this much. Songs on that album are bop. I'm honestly gonna admit that I don't have any skips in this album, and that is really rare for me. Like this album is so good. If you ask me why it's number three, I don't even know. Maybe I'm a little biased to other two groups that I put out as number one and number two, but they surprise me. Like I said, I know they are amazing artists in their own groups, but what energy they create together, it's something new, something interesting. I actually watched a lot of their interviews and everything. I see how I actually watched their reality Amtopia, and I just started to love them as together as a group a lot more than I did. And I hope that X-Files and other fandoms and citizens and shallows are gonna like this group more because they totally deserve it. I don't see what is the big problem if they wanted to step out a little bit out of their groups and do something together. I think it's really fun. Cannot wait to see what they're gonna do next year, like another mini album, full album. Are there gonna be any comebacks at all? Like I'm really excited, and I also see a lot of comments that Super M is basically a flop to SM Entertainment, and I definitely don't think that way because being number one and number two on Billboard 200, it's not that easy. Maybe they're not that popular in Korea, but that's not even the intention. That wasn't even intention to Isoman. It was basically America, and I think in America they are maybe not the biggest, but they're definitely really stable. And I think they are the only artist beside BTS to have number one on Billboard 200, and that tells a lot of things. And I think that you should start appreciate and honor them more because they really deserve it. Such a great album. I enjoy it. I will definitely listen it even in 2013, not just next year, like for the next 10 years, honestly. Amazing album. Number two on the list is NCT 2020 Resonance Part 2 or 1, whatever you want. I put number 2 because number two or part two actually has all the tracks from part one, and it's also some new songs, so you have like more songs, and like every song from part one is in part two, so like it's more reasonable to me. Also, uh, I actually don't really never buy any K-pop album or actually anything K-pop related, and I actually just started loving NCT a lot when they released Make a Wish. So I decided and buy their albums, part one, part two. Recently, there is an online shop in Serbia, first K-pop shop where you can buy K-pop albums and K-pop stuffs. So this is where I bought it. I am so happy. I cherish these two albums like a lot because they are my first albums. Like I really love it. I got a lot of photo cards. There is a 10 one. Like I love this so much. This album is great. Firstly, you have 21 track. 21 track, of course, with intros and outro, but like amazing. 21 tracks in one album. It's crazy to me. Also, they've done a lot of work in their like subunits, and to just have time to do it all together, it's amazing. We're not gonna talk about SM and what they've done with this whole promotion with some NCT members. I'm mad and I don't want to even talk about that. But I love these guys so much, so much. Along with TXT, my favorite K-pop group, I just love them. I mean, I think it speaks a lot that they are the first artist which K-pop, which album I bought. So I think that really, really speaks like a lot. Also, a lot of good tracks. I don't even think there are skips. Out of, I mean, 21, but let's say about 50 or 16 songs, there isn't any skip basically for me. I would definitely listen to this album even a lot more than I did. I think I can never get bored of it. Like it's just so good. Every track has something that is so special to me that I kind of like, and it's just amazing. Like I cannot even describe you what is it, but it's just amazing. Also with Resonance Part One, they sold more than 1 million copies. That just proved I'm so happy because NCT from the beginning was called the failure of SM, that they're not gonna like survive in a company for a long time. And this year, like basically every subunit, but most importantly the whole group, just proved everyone wrong. Like selling more than 1 million copies with one album. And I think they sold also a lot of the part two, but there was just some problem with printing albums or whatever it is. But that is just not like a little thing to do. And that is just basically speaks a lot to me. Why this album is not number one, I must admit I was maybe a little bit biased because number one is my favorite group that you will see in a minute, but maybe that's the reason why it's not number one. But when we talk about music quality and like production and like versatility and everything, this album could definitely be number one at any moment for me. I just love it so much, and I just want to go and listen to it right now. I think this is maybe even my most replayed album this year, honestly. And they are also the artist I listened the most this year. Even if I started like listening like 3 months ago, like actively, they are like maybe my most streamed artists this year. Even Spotify says that. So you trust Spotify. I love them. Hoping for more success next year. Cannot wait to see what they're gonna do next. I'm sad that it's almost over. We're I think getting maybe some award shows performances, and that's basically from the NCT as a whole group. I'm gonna miss interactions and everything that happened. NCT really made mine year, which was so hard, a lot happier than it was. They are really the reason why this year was a little bit happier for me than it would be if there wasn't for them. I'm really so thankful for them. I just love them. I'm so happy that I get to know them, that I have them in my life. I'm sad that it's finishing. Maybe we're not gonna see it until next year, maybe even 2022. I'm sad. I just hope they're gonna do this a lot more often, and I'm so excited. I love them. I want to say that I'm proud to be a citizen, and I will love you forever. Thank you. And finally, we've come to the conclusion. And number one, as many of you maybe knew, it's Blackpink, the album. The first full album of Blackpink girls. Blackpink is my ultimate group. Like, I love them to death. Like, honestly, I love them so much. Like, it's like you cannot explain it by words. Like I said, maybe I was a little bit biased. Maybe NCT, maybe even Super M, when we talk about the quality of the album and the songs, was better to me. But I should just wanted like to give them this number one because this album is totally amazing. It's totally my style. There is no skips. It's just sad a little bit that it's just 8 songs, but I understand. Uh, Also, what I wanted to say is that I'm so happy that Blackpink got a lot more famous this year. Uh, this was definitely their year. Blackpink to me is kind of similar to BTS. They're not just K-pop; they are like worldwide stars. You can definitely say that. No one can deny it. This year specifically, they've proven themselves a lot. I'm so happy that we got a lot more content. We're getting given an online concert, which I'm not gonna be able to buy, unfortunately. I also ordered their album, but because of some issues on like because it's from the other country, I couldn't be able to get it by now. I'm gonna get it, I think maybe by the end of the January, but I'm gonna wait patiently because it's my girls. I cannot wait to get that album in my hands, honestly. But yeah, this was an amazing album. It was sad that it's only 8 tracks, but there is no, like I said, skips in the album. I'm so happy that we finally got it. After 4 years of waiting, we finally got it. We finally got like a lot of content, even like the reality show. Like I couldn't be happier. Love City Girls, such a bop. How you like that? I don't understand the hate. It's getting like one of the best songs of this year to me. You will see it in my favorite B-sides and my favorite title tracks of the year. I'm gonna do it separately. I'm gonna do my favorite B-sides and my favorite title tracks. Like I'm just gonna separate them. Also, like I said, I really see myself listening to this album a lot. Like like even when Blackpink disbands, honestly, like it's really great album. They also participated a little bit. Jenny, I think, and Jisoo. Finally, thank God. I'm just so happy this album is everything I've ever wanted. I would be just a little bit happier if there were more songs, but it's completely fine. I love them. This album was a bop and definitely deserves my number one. I love them and I cannot wait to see what they're gonna do next year. I'm hoping for also more releases. I don't know, maybe at least so many albums and release a solo. Like we need that, YG. You were good this year, but be better next year. Like too many albums and release a solo, please. We're waiting. I mean, I think it's finally time for us to solo. And also, too many albums are at least you can do for us. Also, basically, Blackpink became the first girl group to sell 1 million and more physical copies of their album. That just proves how Blackpink is popular and how they are amazing and talented. The first girl group in history of K-pop to actually sell that many copies of their album. It's insane to me. I actually didn't expect it. I never like. I always knew Blackpink was huge, but I never knew that they're gonna sell like that a lot. And also, I'm just so happy for the haters because they were always saying that Blackpink is just good in YouTube views, and that why is basically buying their views. Even my friend, who is just like a casual listener of K-pop, she like knows some of like most famous groups. She asked me how Blackpink have that so many like views, but their albums like are not that well like sold out. Like they're basically sell not that many albums. I said, girl, wait for their album. Like it's coming. And basically she proven them they actually proven all of them wrong, that it's not just YouTube views, it's also everything they do is just amazing and people support, and I'm just so happy for them. I love them from the bottom of my heart and I'm so happy that they are my number one this year. So we finally come to an end of this video. Basically, I'm just wanted to say something at the end. I know this video is probably gonna be about hour long, like I talked a lot, honestly, but it's okay. I just wanted to say big thanks to every K-pop artist out there that even throughout this whole pandemic that we're going through, that they worked so hard and that they deliver us so many amazing songs, albums, and performances. It's not an easy thing to stay mentally healthy and physically also, because let's be honest, this pandemic affected every one of us, and definitely it affected our artists also, and they definitely pushed through this year really well because of us. It's not like you don't have to be like a fan of certain artists Like I'm saying this not just the groups and solo artists that I like love and stan, but I'm saying this to all the artists that I don't even listen to. I just want to say big thank you to all of you for entertaining us throughout this year, because K-pop definitely made my, let's say, worst year a lot better. Because if it wasn't for K-pop this year, I don't know what I would be doing at home, and I don't know if there were in certain songs how I would actually feel. I would probably like be so depressed, but it really helped me, some of the songs specifically. I'm just so grateful. Cannot wait to see what K-pop as a whole it's gonna be next year. I'm hoping even better if it's possible. I think this is the best year in K-pop since I'm a fan, like hands down best when it comes like to albums, to songs, like basically everything. I'm grateful. I'm so happy. And yeah, I'm also grateful to you guys. I have a lot of plans for next year, but I'm gonna try and be more consistent on this channel. I'm gonna do some new stuff. I'm gonna do some reactions, some first listens. I will try to do as many groups as I can. So yeah, please look forward to my other videos, as or maybe like my favorite b-sides, my favorite title tracks. I'm also gonna do a popularity ranking of the groups in my country if you're interested in that. Please look forward to it. Also, please look forward to me in the next year. I'm gonna try my best to grow this channel as much as I can. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you've come to an end, which you probably didn't, but if you did, thank you. If you enjoyed chit-chatting with me like this video, comment down below what are some of your favorite albums of this year, and subscribe to my channel if you can. Please. I love you all, stay safe, and see you in the next video. Bye.